Should be basically during the same day as class, but we're going to come an hour early. So, be here on time, and for the exam, again, like last time, no shenanigans, and once we start, there will be absolutely no exceptions. If you leave the class during the exam period, you will be done with your exam. So if you're feeling sick, bring a plastic bag or a bucket. Power through. That's what I'm asking for. All right. So today, in order to prep you guys for a little bit of recap, we're going to do review. So everyone's going to be able to participate. Everyone will be required to participate. And if you guys have additional questions, we can round up those at the end. If we finish early in time, then you guys can ask specific questions about your specific projects, and I can help you tackle some technical difficulties. Some of you guys have met me in office hours. Tomorrow and Monday are my last office hours, all right, from 3 to 4:30. If you need help outside of that, email me, not through web courses, through actual email, and I will try to schedule a time to meet with you and resolve your issues, if I can't resolve it online. The exam will not be cumulative, so you do not need to go back and study logic and interaction and stuff like that. It's going to be mostly about Flash. So anything since the midterm that I've presented on, and anything revolving or involving Flash Professional or ActionScript, you should expect pretty thorough questioning on. So I'm going to go through, and you guys will either be able to answer the question or go to someone else in the class for a lifeline. And we'll start with Corrales. We're going to start with hotkeys. The selection tool. What is the hotkey for the selection tool?
No.
It is not S. Natalie.
V?
V is correct. As in V. As in V looks like an arrow. It is a selection tool in Premiere, in Illustrator, in A. Correct. A is correct. So we got a couple people, I think Caitlin and Jan, the but is not getting on attendance. Like an arrow, can you be a little more grammatically indicative?
An arrow with dots around. Or dashes.
What color is it?
Black.
Black arrow. A sub-selection tool, Natalie. What
That's white.
There's a white arrow, okay. Grammatically indicative is what color is it? All right, Josh, the free transform tool. What is the hotkey for that? And you guys can have Flash open while we're doing this. No, Marissa knows this because she got hung up on us. What's that? You don't. All right. Well, what does the icon look like for the free transform tool? It's the square that has the handles at each corner and midpoint, so it has the dots all the way around it. Marissa, what is the hotkey for the free transform tool?
Q.
Q is correct. Use the free transform tool to scale objects, change its pivot point or axis of rotation. Alexander, what is the hotkey for the gradient transform tool? This is one we only covered briefly, so. Gradient transform tool. If you're looking for it in Flash, it is on the flyout menu from the free transform tool. Correct.
Okay.
Correct. In F, think of the gradient as a type of free transform, so that's how you can remember F. But it's all right. And we'll throw a bonus out there. What are the 3 types of text inside of the text tool option? Dynamic is one of them.
Static.
Corrales? Static. Okay. Someone find it really quickly. There it is, input. Yeah, create it and find the drop-down box. That's how we're going to look at it. Take the time to do that now and find these things and write them down, because you guys will not be able to use Flash for the final exam. Lo and behold, I will not let you cheat. But now is the time where I can ask you the questions and you guys can do the research. You should expect these questions again in just over, what is it, 28, 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, you should expect these questions to come back. So study them, commit them to memory, have them on your brain space. All right. Dave, what is the hotkey for the pen tool? We'll go with this one while he's finding what does the pen tool look like?
A quill.
Quill, tip of a fountain pen. Looks like the tip of a fountain pen. All right, David, you want to do a lifeline? Call somebody who's eager to respond? P. P is for the pen tool. And the pen tool is used to create Bezier curves so you can do paths for animation. All right, Marissa, what is the hotkey for the line tool? N, correct. And you can remember that N works for lines because N is 3 lines put place to place.
Are we gonna actually have to try to describe what they look like?
You should be able to recognize the icons. I may ask you explicitly for the name of the tool. I may show you an icon. So you should be able to recognize it in the interface, and you should be able to identify it by its name. So if someone says click on the pen tool, you know, the thing that looks like a quill, you should be able to, either of those should get you to where you're going. All right. Russell. Height. The rectangle tool.
R.
R. And it looks like a rectangle. Correct. Leah. The oval tool. Oh, and it looks like an oval. Correct. These are used for drawing shapes. There is a flyout option from those for the primitive oval and the primitive rectangle tool. It basically creates small group segments of images so you don't have to worry about overlapping things. Aside from using primitives and drawing in shape mode, what is the other way that we have of keeping shapes from overlapping on each other in the same layer? Open question. Was going to be Corral, she changed her mind. So if I draw a circle over a triangle and then I move the circle's taken out of the triangle. I can avoid this by turning the circle or the triangle into a group. If you group in a set of objects, they do not overlap on top of each other. All right. Joe. Pencil tool. If you guys have Flash open, you guys should be able to follow along pretty handily here. So.
Why?
Why? Because I asked. No? All right. Bad joke. I got it. And you can remember the pencil tool is Y. All right. Maha. Paint bucket. K. Yes. Which is K. I have no mnemonic for that. It should not be K. Jan. The ink bottle. S. All right. Open question. If I have a shape and I use the ink bottle on a shape, what happens?
It takes whatever color that shape is and puts it as your current color.
Incorrect. That is the eyedropper. That's the eyedropper. The ink bottle that has a different function. It's unique to Flash. Try drawing a shape and then ink bottling it. You're right. This is a different experience than when you're in digital video. It adds a stroke to a shape if it does not have it. So the ink bottle draws an outline to your object. If you have an outline and you paint bucket it, what happens? Extrapolate one question to the next. Fills it in. So one creates a stroke, the other creates a fill based on the opposite element that you do have. So you need to have a fill to create a stroke, you need to have a stroke to create a fill. All right. Jan, I asked you ink bottle, right? Okay. So Caitlin? All right. The hand tool. H. H for hand. All right. And it looks like a hand. The hand tool is used to navigate. The hand tool and Chris, the zoom tool. Z. It's the only Z word, so it starts with the Z. We'll go with that. The hand tool and the zoom tool are the navigational tools. That's how you get around the scene. Those out to the point where you can see the entire stage. Command 3 will zoom out to the point where you can see everything. If everything you have is inside of the stage, it will still show you the stage. So Command 2 and 3 can be the same thing. All right. We're going to move up to the timeline. Russell, if I want to insert a frame, what is the hotkey?
F5.
F5 is correct. Marissa, if I want to insert or convert a selected frame to a keyframe, what is the hotkey? Just F6. F6.
That converts the frame to a key.
Keyframe, yeah.
Yes.
That
And for that, if I have this, and I have an active keyframe in my last frame, if I have this frame selected and I press F6, it'll convert that to a keyframe. So, and if I have something over here selected and I press F6, then it'll convert that to it'll insert a keyframe here and convert to a keyframe over here, or vice versa. But it's the same key. Dave, if I want to insert a blank keyframe, what is the hotkey? F5 was to insert a frame. If you feel the need to lifeline, anyone, you can pick anyone who has their hand up and is willing to contribute, which I think right now is Marissa. Corrales will change her mind a couple times in a second.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Lifeline, somebody who.
Is it F7?
F7.
Is that something?
Right, so I have F6, F7. So F5 will change, will expand or add a keyframe to where whatever you have selected. F6 will convert, F5 will add a frame, F6 will add a keyframe, F7 will add a blank keyframe. So rather than taking whatever information is there and converting it to a keyframe, it'll create a keyframe that is vacant and is ready to have content added to it. All right, Kathleen, if I want to remove a frame, what is the keyboard shortcut?
I don't know. I really don't. I
Okay.
just right click.
Would it save me time to just not?
Yeah.
Okay. Alexander, if I want to remove a keyframe, what is the keyboard shortcut?
I just right click.
You right click them? What's that? F9 is no.
No, it's F16. No, F16 is for adding a new key.
Do you want to see if there's a lifeline up here? Anyone want a hotkey to remove a key? To remove a frame?
Remove a frame.
Remove a frame.
Shift F5.
Shift F5 is correct. All right. Josh, if I want to clear a keyframe, which is another way of saying convert a keyframe to a frame. And now I'm asking you for the keyboard shortcut. So I asked to do the logical extrapolation. We did F5 to create a frame, F6 to create a keyframe, F7 to create a blank keyframe, Shift F5 to remove a frame, Shift F6 will be the way to convert a keyframe to a regular frame. So it's how to go forward and how to go backwards. F6 deals with keyframes, F5 deals with frames in general, F7 deals with blank keyframes. And you can think of the 7 as kind of like a caret mark for inserting, insert blank space here. All right. All right. Where are we at? Natalie, I have a shape selected and I want to convert it to a symbol. What is the hotkey to convert a selection to a symbol?
Right click.
No lifelines? Natalie? You pick anyone,
Yeah.
anyone with a lifeline option pick.
Orange, the yellow.
Marissa?
F8.
F8 is correct. See, all these buttons are right there. Now you guys, we had covered these in brief as I mentioned them, so if you guys don't retain them, I'm not worried about it. That's why we're going over them now, so you have them, and you can use them to expedite your workflow going forward.
What did you say before?
Clearing a keyframe, which was Shift F6. All right. Corrales,
Yes.
what is the hotkey to open the Actions panel?
F9. Wait. Shift F. No. Control F9.
Cracking me up right now.
Something F9. I always forget what the symbol is on that.
Something, something F9. Don't mind if I do.
The little thing that looks like stairs. I always forget what it
So yeah, you're right.
is. Yeah. I just don't know. I forget what it is.
Does anyone want to help her out? What does the stair mean in Mac?
Option.
Option.
Okay. I never
Because
used
it's
it.
actually, it's not a stair, it's if I'm not mistaken, it looks like this.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going down a logic stream and you can choose this or this. It's an option, a choice. You can do one or the other. It's a gate, two different things. Kathleen?
What about the action script lectures? Are we gonna have to study up on those?
Yes.
So the answer is option F9.
Option F9 opens up the actions panel.
What is options?
Also the Alt key.
Alt.
On a PC, for CS6, it will be Alt F9. For CS5 or CC, it's just F9. But we're talking about CS6 because that's what you guys learned in here. And that's what you'll be taking, well, that's what you've been using or have been expected to be using. So just know that Alt or Option F9 is the answer for Actions panel. All right, Yana, what is the hotkey to test the movie?
Enter.
Close. Command Enter is correct. So the Enter will just play through the timeline, but if you actually want to test the movie where you can do interactions and click on buttons, that is Command or Control Enter. PC. I'm going to stick with the Mac options. Like I said, all the commands for PC and Mac should be, Control Command should be synonymous for the ones I'm using. There are variances, but not the ones I'm testing you guys on. All right, this is more of an abstract one, Baha. What is the keyboard shortcut to publish? It has several keys. Get as many as you can remember.
Shift, Command, F. Is that right? No.
It's close.
Shift, Control, F.
Should be. Okay. I have it marked down. I may have pulled that one off of CC, so let me make an adjustment to that. So, Shift Command F12. I had Alt Shift F12.
Do you accept either one? Because I use Creative Cloud.
We're going to be using CS6. So,
Even if I have to.
you have the great opportunity right now to take notes and then study them. If it's not a keyboard shortcut that you previously learned, I'm assuming that confusing them shouldn't be an issue.
Because I'm used to using the one on the laptop.
So Command Shift F12 is what you guys had on that as well?
And
Yeah.
this is the publish, you said?
For publishing. Correct. And the difference between testing and publishing, for your guys' sake, if you just test the movie, it'll publish a SWIFT, but if you do publish, anything that you have selected under the Publish dialog box will also be published, including things like PNGs and GIFs, HTML wrappers, and any of that hoodad. So there is a substantial difference between them. All right, we're going to leave off. Mark, here's an important panel, the Align panel. Yeah, the hotkey for it. Which you can find under Window. I'm not going to ask you guys a lot of panels, but the Align panel is an important one. If you correct, Command K. All right, Joe. I'm on the stage, and I want you to step backwards one frame, or go to the previous frame. What is the keyboard shortcut to step backwards one frame? Nope, not the arrow keys. I'll even ask you the paired question of what is the step forward key. When you find one, you will find the other one. You have lifeline options behind you here.
We go back, period, forward.
Correct. And even though it's comma and period seem kind of obscure for going back and going forward, remember those live on the less than and greater than signs, which look like arrow left and arrow right. All right? So you can remember they look like moving left and moving right, and that'll help you guys to remember stepping forward one frame or another frame. And the arrows are what's used on a DVD player or a music player for seeking, and that's kind of what you're doing. You're seeking through the timeline one frame at a time. All right, and Leah, play or pause the timeline. We actually already covered this as someone was attempting another answer. Go for lifeline?
Enter.
It is enter. Thank you, Joe.
Give me the wrong answer.
Is there a general question? I may ask up to 30 hotkey questions. Not even, I'm not even going to include the save or save as options, right? Because you guys should get that.
I think they all.
And they may be, and the hotkeys should probably either multiple choice or matching. It may just be match these 30 things to those 30 things, and you guys will be like, fudge cakes. Yeah, I know. I'm a terrible dictator. All right. How dare I ask you to learn in college? Josh, we're out of hotkeys and more into interface questions. How many types of tweens are there? 3. Brandon, name me a type of tween. Motion. Chris. Classic. Caitlin. He had motion and classic. Lifeline it. See who's got an opinion here. Krause, I think that it was Krause or Natalie. I'm not sure. Shape. Together as a team. All right. Yes. So the question was, how many types of tweens are there? The answer is 3. Shape, classic, and motion. All right, Krause. For you. Yep. What color are the keyframes of a shape tween? Lifeline it. We got volunteers here.
Alright, you over there.
You over there. What are people's names? In the yellow jacket, that's Marissa. The other one, their hand is Leah.
Okay, Marissa.
Marissa.
Green.
What?
Lime green. Lime green.
Lime green. I will accept green. Anywhere in the 0, 255 to 0 range. All right. Natalie, what color are classic tweens?
Isn't it blue? It's purplish? I don't know.
It is purplish.
Oh, come
We'll go-
on.
And the reason why I'm being so picky, Josh, what are the color of motion tweens? What are the color of motion tweens? What's that?
Sucks when anyone's colorblind.
If you're not sure, check for a lifeline right here.
A blue.
Blue, correct. Which is why purple cannot be kind of blue. It has to be purple. Purple and blue are different. So green for shapes, purple for classic, because it's such a regal color, right? King's classic, regal color, purple, right? Shapes are green. When you're a young kid, you paint with a lot of finger paints. Green gets on everything, right? Blue for motion. When you have motion blur in the air, you see part of the sky behind them. The sky is blue. Keep these things in mind. These mnemonics hopefully will help you guys to retain the color coding. All right, so Alexander, what types of objects can shape tweens be applied to?
Graphics and shapes. I mean,
Shapes is correct.
Yes.
Shapes is
yeah, just shapes and
just shapes. So shape tweens are for shapes. Kathleen, are you? Nope. Okay. Dave. What kind of objects can classic tweens be applied to? Symbols is one. He just said it.
Sucks.
For his answer, he just said it for his answer. You're not taking notes, so you can't.
Shapes.
So shapes and
Shapes
symbols.
and
Right.
symbols.
Shape tweens are for shapes. Classic tweens are for shapes and symbols. And Marissa, motion tweens are for. We'll generalize one step further. Movies are a type of symbol. So motion tweens are only applicable to symbols. So if you have a blue tween, it's definitely working on a symbol. And a point of trivia, some of you guys have run across this. Motion tweens cannot live on the same time or cannot live on the same layer as a classic tween. Just can't happen. All right. Russell, how many types of symbols are there? 3. Leah, give me one type of symbol.
There is movie clips.
Movie clips. Joe. Button. Mark. Graphic. Graphic, button, and movie are the 3 types of symbols.
Okay.
What? Maha. Is a graphic symbol timeline dependent or timeline independent? Incorrect. A graphic symbol is timeline dependent, meaning that if you have an animation in a graphic symbol and you put it onto a timeline, there must be enough frames in that timeline for it to play through the entirety of the animation. Otherwise, it will stop and repeat from the beginning halfway through or at some percentage through. And the contrary to that, I'll just hand out, because it's a very obvious response, that movie symbols are timeline independent. They will play their entirety of their content without regards to how many frames are available. As long as there's one frame for it to live in, it will play the entirety of the animation that it has. Think of movie clips being timeline independent as in independent movies. There you go. Chris.
I know this would be really inefficient, but could you make like action scripts to make it scrub through the graphic symbols timeline?
If you try to reach to a frame inside of a graphic symbol, well, actually, first off, graphic symbols will not have code references because they can't be named.
Oh, okay.
But if you can access, you can create an array of objects by list and access, or create a list of objects in an array just by sourcing what's on the screen. And if you try to reach to a frame that's beyond what's visible, it'll give you a null return. So you actually can't reach into it. Yeah, it was a question I had several years ago, and I'm like, can I do that? And the answer is no. They don't let you. All right. I'm sorry. Who did I leave off on? So I'm on to Young. Okay. Jan, how many frames are there in a button symbol? 4. Caitlin, what is the first frame in a button symbol? It has a specific name though inside of a button symbol. I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Sorry, I'm trying to dig out loud.
Okay, that's all right. I was wasn't sure if the monitor was blocking your response. If you're not sure,
Russell.
Russell,
Up.
up is the first frame of a button symbol. Chris, what is the second frame of a button symbol?
Over.
Over. Brandon. Down. Josh. Hit. Correct. We'll throw this one out there in general. The up state refers to what? Somebody who has the answer in the brain. Brandon. When the mouse is away from the button. Correct. The over state.
It's hovering.
When the mouse is hovering over the button. The down state.
That's being clicked on.
Well, and I'm hesitant to agree with that only because click is a very specific thing. So click is a down and up motion. The down state,
That means press down.
right, while the mouse button is down, because you can go down onto the mouse and then slide off the mouse and then release, and it will not fire.
I didn't know how to word that though. So.
What's that?
I didn't know how to word that.
That's all right. If that comes back to you in a short answer, take as many words as you need to be clear. The way that I worded it, the mouse is depressed while on top of the button.
I was going to use the word depressed, but I did not want to be long-winded. Never mind.
Depressed isn't long-winded, it's a very concise, long word. All right, and the hit state, the hit frame. What's it for? Russell?
The region in which the button can be interacted with.
Correct.
Where do we find that information?
During lecture and lab.
Button symbol, go into it.
Yes, create a button symbol and draw stuff. Yes. Do you want all of them or just the hit?
Last sentence.
Okay. The hit is the undrawn area of the button that will react to input. That's my wording. I went wording on that one. Is it secret mission time? All right, what is the name of the panel that holds all the symbols and resources for a project? A library, correct. What is the name of the panel that shows specific attributes of an object? Yes. More confidence if if we're gonna be wrong, be really wrong, right? All right. I'm gonna do some. You guys will have to suffer through my artwork momentarily. What does this denote on the timeline? What type of keyframe? Empty keyframe. A keyframe. Word for it. Not with stuff, with content. All right.
Guessing stuff won't be acceptable.
A frame. Right. End of a frame sequence. Let's see. We'll be looking at this frame here. I'll draw an additional frame here, so we'll say that. Just this frame here, what is? Tween, correct. In this frame? But what makes it different? It's the last frame of a tween. Or last tween frame. I need this thing again. This denotes what?
No. Oh, well, yeah, it is a tween. Yeah.
It's a broken tween.
A broken tween. Thank you, Kevin. That is absolutely correct. All right. Actions live here, right? Here's RB actions. So that A over the keyframe means that is where actions live. And you will either only see this or this, because actions only exist in the first part of that frame. And
These are labels.
labels, right? This has been claimed Someone owns that. It's been named. All right, should be all the timeline stuff. And again, those I may ask you to describe. You know, what does a frame that has a label in it look like? You'll say it's a key frame with a flag on it. I may show you an image of this and ask you to identify it. I may give you a multiple choice or a matching option. So just be prepared for any of those. If you know the material, then format that you're asked about it shouldn't matter. Rick.
The PowerPoints are going to be on the team, right? Or is it just Flash?
The
PowerPoints?
nothing from before the midterm.
Whatever you have.
All right. What is the coding language of Flash? ActionScript is correct. What do we use? ActionScript 3.0 is the answer we'll be looking for. ActionScript 3, I will probably accept because I'm not that mean. All right. In ActionScript 3, this type of object holds basic information of some type.
Say that again.
In ActionScript 3, this object holds basic information of some type. A variable. What is the keyword to tell ActionScript 3 to create a new variable? VAR or var. All lowercase. I will ding you on capitalization lowercase for coding questions. Please be precise. Check your work. Right. Capital VAR is nothing in ActionScript. Lowercase VAR is a declaration of a variable creation. All right. What do we call a variable that belongs to a specific object? If we had URL loader, it could be like a .url. If we had a text box, it would be a .text. What do we call those things? No. No. No, what we're looking for is property. So a variable holds some information, a property holds some specific information that belongs to an object. All right, what do we call a set of instructions that can be reused? A function. And the keyword to use to create a new function is function. All lowercase. Trick question, right? Someone want to come take the marker? This is a get up out of your seat question. And write the general syntax for defining a function. You say yes or pass? Pass. Mark, will you please come up and write on the board?
I don't know.
Will you please come up and be the hands of people who are going to make a guess until you get it right? You said pass. You were the first one to say something. Come here. We're going to help out. I'm not going to ask you guys to write a significant amount of code. I will ask you to recognize code, though. So we'll work on this board. You can erase the option. So help Mark write a function. The function doesn't have to do anything. We're just going to write a function.
Function? Start function.
Make a space and put the name of whatever you want the function to be.
Don't look at me. You're following.
Design put it.
Yes.
Name of function.
As well.
We'll stick with
Blue.
my funk.
Then parenthesis, first parenthesis, then the parameters for the function should be like int or string or boolean, depending.
Let's call the first parameter par1.
Okay, R1.
So you give them the specific syntax on how to develop that. I'm not looking. I don't know.
I don't either.
Would it be like, okay, par1, then colon, then int.
Colon or semicolon?
colon?
I don't know the difference.
One's a period over a period, one's a period over a
Yeah, I
comma.
got it.
Well,
Yeah.
No, I'm just giving you a hard time because I know you know that
I
difference.
hate variables in that, but keep getting confused with Java, how to use syntax. But yeah, var1 colon then int, or whatever, variable colon.
I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah. Then you like close parentheses, because I do like then as a parameter. Then, what's,
Yeah,
not yet,
No,
it
not
needs a
yet.
bracket thing. Or does it?
hold on.
Okay.
Someone other than Chris can also contribute. Just saying, it's a group effort here.
Void. You should say,
Oh yeah, it needs a return type, I guess.
yeah. Should be
I don't know if I colon does that though.
Why can't we tell you and then you do it? Because it's more fun for me.
colon void, and then an open squiggly parentheses.
You don't need the semicolon, you need colon.
There's no colon.
Yeah,
Bracket.
not the semicolon, get rid of, yeah.
Colon?
I'm
Yeah.
strongly inclined to the colon void. That sounds and looks
Mhm.
correct.
Colon void, yeah. Then dash, and then you can just end it with another bracket since you didn't say the function had to have anything.
Yep.
Then end with a semicolon. Oh no, you don't need to.
You don't need
Semicolon.
to.
Yeah,
Not need a semicolon.
This isn't C.
that's fine.
This is what?
I said this isn't C.
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
The code goes there under squiggles. Excellent. Thanks, Mark. You win. So, there's a general layout for a function. The syntax is the keyword function, the name of the function. Inside of parentheses, the name of any arguments separated from their object type with a colon, commas to separate multiple, if you wanted to have multiple arguments, colon, return type, curly bracket, block of code, close curly bracket. General syntax for a function. And just for future reference, if you guys see this, if I write something like func name, these, the greater than less than sign encapsulating means to write something there. The greater than less than sign are not part of syntax, right? So if I were to rewrite that, I would say function name, actually that's function name arg1 type 1 return type. And because I use these caret marks in these brackets, that means it's generalized. You can put whatever you want in there. So if I ask you, a function named something, and you guys see this, that's a generalized statement. So you know that something else could live there. It's just saying this is where that stuff goes. For something like the return type, there's specific information that goes there, like int, boolean, number, right? But this is that layout. You guys will see that, and I will ask you. I will probably give you something like this that will have an argument, and I will say, what is the argument in this? And you guys will have to pull out. Argument is arg1. What is the return type? The return type is void, right? So I'll ask you these questions. You guys should be able to pull those out. All right. What is the syntax for a single line or inline comment? Two
Slashes.
Two slashes. What type of slashes? Forward slash. Does anyone here have a hard time remembering the difference between a forward slash and a backslash? You're all good on that? Okay. I have mnemonics if you need them. What is the syntax for a multi-line comment? Leah.
Slash and asterisk.
Slash and asterisk?
Yeah.
And then?
You end with the asterisk slash.
And then end with the asterisk slash. Correct. Everyone get that? It is an asterisk.
No, I was trying to screw up on purpose, but I said it.
You said it right because you've been trained
No.
into submission.
It's asterisk.
Yes, a multi-line comment, the syntax for multi-line comment is slash, asterisk, and to close it, you use an asterisk slash. So if I ask you to present the code for that, should look like this. I'm not going to ask you to fill it, you can just, boom, there you go. your code goes, or your comments go there. For as many lines as you like. Okay. Get back to an eraser, because now my hands are all blue. All right. What type of variable is A? Boolean. We'll go over here. What type of variable is C? String. Do you see the difference? Hopefully you do. Okay. So B equals false. A and B returns what? True or false? We'll start with this. The 2 ampersand signs. If you guys can't read my handwriting, those are ampersand signs. They're not 8s. They're not little people sitting down. It stands for and. You're interpreting it as both, but it doesn't stand for both. It stands for a logical and, which is a comparison of both statements. So if I have A and B, I know A is true and B is false. A and B is false. Correct. Because for this statement to return true, both this and this must be true. So, what is the middle operator here? Or, more lovingly called pipes. All right, and this will return what, given the current conditions? I heard of measurements of stuff. Returns true, because this is looking to see if A or B is true. If either of those is true, it will return. Is A true or is B true? If one of them is true, it's true. Is A true and B true? They must both be true. It's logical comparisons. You can catch your parents in good traps if they don't have good logical comparisons in their statements. All right. How about this one? What does this return? Correct. Anyone not see it? This is more of a comprehension thing. Don't remember this exact example because I will give you a more obfuscated example. This is the logic I'm checking for here.